Welcome to Skypodcast. Watch out for a new episode every Saturday. I am an INFP, I am an ENTJ. But then, you realize that you can change. You're human, you're multifaceted, you can adapt. You can give a public speech and not be ashamed of yourself, or dance in public and not be ashamed.
Some people say na parang, ito talaga ako eh. Hindi na ako mag-change. The person who says no cannot be done, and the person who says yes, it can be done, are usually both right.
The shy kids in grade school don't have to be the shy kids now that we're adults.
It is very, very important that we don't hold ourselves to any limit.
Happy New Year, guys. It is already the end of 2023.
Yes, a very, very exciting 2023.
Very eventful 2023. How do you expect 2024 to be, my love?
I don't know. I hope that we can start getting our stride. You know what I think about 2023? I feel na 2023 was the time when everybody was just adjusting.
Yes.
That's when we traveled a lot more. Even the work-life balance thing, parang
Should I go to the
tayo
office?
ulit.
Should I work from home?
Yes, because,
Yeah.
diba, even before pandemic, hindi tayo nagzo-Zoom calls. And sa 2023, meron na mga Zoom calls, but meron na rin mga in-person. And yung mga balance natin from just being with the family every single time, ngayon, parang inahatak ka na in all different directions.
Yeah.
So, there was
So
that
it's a year of
adjustment.
nangangapa.
Feeling ko.
Oo. I think for everyone.
Yeah.
Or
Did you
for
feel
majority. For sure. Especially adjusting to having 2 kids also.
that? Yes.
And now incoming 3. Woohoo! Surprise, surprise.
Surprise. Pero na-announce ni Chris sa vlog.
Yes, so if you guys want us to talk more about the new addition to our family, sa vlog na lang para hindi na pa ulit-ulit yung usapan. Oo. So anyway, 2023 to me was a year of adjustment also because syempre, we had come from the pandemic where I was like a full-time mom, didn't really have a lot of work, right? So it was like 2 years of just me and Scotty and you.
Yeah.
And then now 2023 is like work coming from all directions, but also having 2 kids. And like having 1 kid versus having 2 kids is completely different, right?
Yes.
Like you can't give 100% and 100% to both. You only have 100%. So parang nahahata ka talaga everywhere. And I broke down a few times in 2023 to you, right, love? Saying na, di ko na talaga gets. Parang nabigay ko na lahat sa lahat ng tao at lahat ng trabaho, pero wala na naiwan para sa akin.
So, paano na yung third?
Ayun na nga. Adventure na lang.
We'll cross the bridge when we get there.
We'll cross the bridge when we get there. But I feel like wherever life takes us, we will find our own balance and our own strides. So, kaya natin yan.
I think this later part of 2023, mas nakaka-adjust na ako. But, especially in the earlier months of 2023, parang being the introvert that I am, medyo may mga culture shock moments. No?
Yeah, me too. It's like you're so used to just speaking to each other or like immediate family. And then when you go out there in the real world, let's say you have a big meeting or you have like this big event.
Yes.
It's like I don't know how to socialize anymore. Like, do I beso? Do I shake hands? Do I just wave? Do I do the elbow? Di ba may elbow hello, yung ganon? Di ba? Parang magsa-small talk pa ba ako or straight to the point na? Like, it's like you've forgotten the social muscle.
Yes.
Yeah.
I think especially tayo na parang we kind of thrived being like just being home buddies.
Yeah. Which is so weird because before we got married, both of us were really like out there all the time. Like we never stayed home.
Yeah.
Even in our separate homes, right? We were always out with our friends, like always out.
Yes.
But then in the pandemic, it's like our brains completely rewired. And we enjoy the silence, being at home.
I think there's moments like that talaga na parang itong mga big moments that stick with you forever. Like the pandemic, for us, it was also Typhoon Odette.
Yeah.
Like having kids. Parang, and after that, you would never...
Segue lang. Oh yeah, I had kids. Oh yeah.
Mga life-defining moments na parang after that, you can never be back to the same.
You'll never be the same again. It's like these moments give you a mental shift.
Like,
no?
Let's say for example, yung mga Zoom calls, diba hindi uso dati? Ngayon, uso na naman. Like, parang never in a million years did I think that it would be normal to just have Zoom meetings.
Right, it's like when you're growing up and you watch TV, like you're watching the Jetsons. It's like a city in the future and they always have these kind of Zoom calls. But then like we never have that in real life until the pandemic.
And then na-apply siya.
Right? Yeah, it's really creepy. And these are things that happen to us that we can't unlearn. Right?
Pero napansin ko, love, ikaw mas kasi, mas extroverted ka kaysa sa akin, especially when we are
Before.
dating. What changed?
Motherhood changed me. I feel like, to be honest, it wasn't just the pandemic. It was really motherhood because I've never experienced tiredness that much in my life. I remember when you and I started dating. No, seriously. And I just realized this like a few weeks ago na, it's really the pagod pala. It's really the pagod. Kasi when we first started dating, I remember you telling me that you really needed your sleep. Like, your whole family, parang sobrang important sa kanila yung sleep na if they don't get enough sleep in a day, like 8 hours, sobrang sira yung next day nila, cranky sila, they can't operate at their best, he has allergies, like so many things happen. And that never happened to me because when I was growing up, it was like, sleep when you're dead. Like, this is party all night and work all day and kaya ko lahat. It was really like that. Remember?
My impression of you dati was,
Nakadrugs.
okay, this guy, this girl can be placed anywhere and she's able to like take care of herself.
Oh, talaga?
Oh, yung parang, anong social situation, pwede siyang mailagay. I knew you had an introverted side, pero kaya mong kumambyo. So,
And I remember growing up, I always had FOMO because my parents were super strict growing up. So I immediately, when they were less strict with me, I wanted to experience everything and be everywhere. So I feel like that's where that came from. And then when we had the kids and it was pandemic and there was no sleep, like dun ko na feel talaga na, eto pala yung walang time. Eto pala yung walang tulog. So like all of the free time that I have, like hindi ko na maisip yung going out with friends. Parang last priority na kayo. Like I need my sleep. It's really the pagod for me. And when I found that parang peace na, because you know when you're outside of your room or outside of your bed, the kids are so noisy and then you have so many deadlines for work and then this life goes on. It's so much. So then I started to realize like, oh, okay, nighttime, when all the kids are asleep and my phone isn't ringing, is my perfect me time. I can just shut off my brain and stare into space. This is great. And so now I traded that peace in myself for going out. So yung FOMO ko na is FOMO from sleeping. Hindi na siya FOMO from going out.
yeah, pero it's not just about the going out. Now, when we go out, it's more, ako na yung, napansin ko, like, love, 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 can you do this for me? Can you call the waiter? Parang, mas nahihiya ka na lalo. Like, parang, even to just call the waiter, si Chris would, ano siya, I'm sure a lot of couples can relate to this.
It's not
like,
hiya. It's more like creature comforts.
Yun nga eh.
Like,
Meron
can you
kang
do it for
awkwardness.
me, my love?
Yeah.
Ganon.
No.
Cute lang siya.
No, love, kasi pag ako, hindi kasi ako pinapansin.
Ah, yeah,
Maliit
that's true.
kasi ako.
That's true.
Yung parang,
Like, I have to really raise my voice so that they hear me. I feel like because your voice is so loud. So when you say, boss, they're like, oh yeah, what's up? If it's me, I'm like, boss, boss, boss!
no, but, yeah, like, even to order water, katabi ko si Chris. Tapos bigla, love, can you call the waiter and order water for me? Yung, seryoso.
Yeah, I've really changed a lot, I feel. But you know what? I don't think it's a bad thing. Like, growing up, I always thought that, you know, extrovertedness was superior to being an introvert, especially because I feel like growing up, people always praise extroverts. Like in school, they're the ones that are popular, the ones na walang hiya na classmates, yung mga sumasayaw lang, napapatawa. Diba? And then like, when the teacher calls you and you give this like really nice answer, then all your classmates applaud you, and the teacher gives you a high grade. So parang it's all of these extroverted talents or skills that are applauded. So then my aim in life was always to be like one of those people that are extroverts. Like you could give a public speech and not be ashamed of yourself, or dance in public and not be ashamed, all these things. But then now that as I've grown older, I've realized, hey, it's pretty great to be an introvert too. Because I feel like I'm okay just being by myself. Like, I don't need validation from people to make me feel that okay ako. Parang kahit di ako nag-speech sa class or kahit di ako popular, okay pa rin ako dito. Nanonood lang.
But I don't think like extrovert needs like validation from people. Parang, ano lang sila, they just need that connection all the time. Like, I have a friend
or they're
na,
fueled by social connections.
yes, I have a friend na parang, when they go out, it energizes them. Sa akin, if I go out, it's like, yung gas tank ko parang bumababa at bumababa. Meron
Then you have to
akong
recharge.
maibigay. Pero kailangan ako gas ulit.
Yeah.
Na ako lang mag-isa sa toilet, ako lang mag-isa.
But you know, a lot of people realize that during the pandemic na. Like, I just heard about recharging your social battery.
Yeah.
That whole phrase, I heard about that during the pandemic. So I feel like a lot of people maybe can relate to us na, their personality changed during the pandemic and they realized it's nice to be by yourself.
You were saying kanina na extroverts have an advantage when it comes to like talking in public, being recognized, and kind of like when you look at social media and the people that you aspire, like parang yung iniidolo natin dati, it's always like parang they have some sort of extrovertness to them. Mostly. Hindi naman like sweeping across. Pero I feel like I also did that. I idolized these people. I wanted to be these people, but I was super introverted. And I feel like what helped me is being in showbiz and trying to train that muscle talaga.
Right.
Because I felt like there was value in that. For example, I always thought like if I did good work and like mare-recognize naman ako without even just saying it, without showing it off.
So example, if may maganda kang product, hindi mo na kailangan i-market kasi maganda na yung product mo.
Yes, or
Ganon.
even in the work setting, like parang, ito ginawa ko to for, when I was working for my dad, it was like, okay, I'll do this for my dad kahit hindi niya alam. Parang,
You don't need to recognize me.
I don't need any sort of recognition. But I slowly realized the reality of the world na kailangan mo pa rin ibenta yung sarili mo.
It's an extroverted world.
It's a balance wherein you do good work, but if you don't, let's say for example, there's a big meeting. You're one of the best people there, but you don't talk. You have great ideas in your head, but you're too shy to contribute.
Yeah.
So, or parang alam mong lahat ang dapat gagawin pero hindi mo kayang i-verbalize yung kailangan mo sabihin or nahiya kang to call people out and all these extroverted skills, I would say, is also a very big detriment. So, kailangan siyang i-balance.
So, would you say that even if you are calling yourself an introvert, you can kind of put on an extrovertedness?
Extroverted hat.
Yeah, extroverted hat in certain situations.
Yes, I would say. I feel like sa test na personality nasa gitna ako
Myers-Briggs. Myers-Briggs.
But I feel like I've slowly pulled that
Yeah.
to the extroverted side.
But you know what I feel about those personality tests? Like, I feel like once you take it, it's like set in stone that like this is me. Like I am an INFP, I am an ENTJ, all of these things. But
Yeah, I don't believe that.
I don't believe that because I took it when I was in college a long time ago and I've definitely changed since then. And I feel like
Magbabago, yeah.
every time you take that test, it will change. Today, tomorrow, 1 hour from now, 10 hours from now, because we are human and we're multifaceted. And it depends on like our feeling when we're taking that test at that moment. Like,
Yes.
did I just get embarrassed by this social situation in school? Or like, am I feeling great because my boss just promoted me and I'm taking this test? Like we're multifaceted.
It's subjective.
Yeah.
It's like parang ano lang siya, a more or less.
More or
Andyan
less.
ka, just to get to know yourself, ganyan ka.
So even if in that test I was an extrovert and now I feel like I am an introvert, I do feel like sometimes I dabble in both. And sometimes I do feel like, I could be fun today. I need people in my life. I'm so tired of talking to 2 and below. But sometimes, like, no, I just can't go out. Like, I just need to recharge.
Nakakatawa si Chris kasi you always like, okay, it would be nice to have to spend time with people outside the house. But love, labas tayo, love. And then bigla, tulog na lang ako, love.
Yeah. No, I told Slater, like, maybe if he tells me, hey, let's go on a brunch date, I'll be like, game. But if you tell me to go out like past dinner time, that's already my me time. This is the only quiet in my life. Like, hindi ko na kaya.
I was talking to your kuya yesterday, si Aya. Sabi niya, alam mo, grabe na talaga ngayon. Inuman namin. Inuman tayo. It's a holiday. Inuman tayo. Start tayo ng 4 para makauwi tayo ng maaga.
I remember before, I was talking to my older siblings. They're 10 years older than me. So it's my brother, my sister, and my brother-in-law. And they would always ask me, like, what do you guys drink? And that was at the peak of my party career. I'm like, what do we drink? Tequila. Hello, Jägermeister. Like, what's a vodka? Whatever. All these hard drinks. And they're like, bleh, bleh, that's so disgusting. I can't believe it. And then you're going to leave now? You're just leaving now? It's 12 midnight. I'm like, yeah, the party starts at 1. Like, what are you talking about? These old people are so boring. But then now it's us with 2 kids, 1 on the way. My gosh. Like, don't let me get out of the house past 8. Like, kahapon, birthday ng niece ko.
Yeah.
So, nauwi tayo ng 9. Feeling ko talaga, like, late night party.
Kating-kate na si Chris umuwi.
As in, pagdating sa bahay, Scotty was like, Mom, can I sleep beside you? Sure. Nauna pa ako matulog. I know. But it's the pagod. It's the pagod, I think.
Kasi I remember, when Chris and I were dating, siya talaga yung parang can operate in 3-4 hours of sleep and game pa rin the next day.
Yeah.
So
like,
parang...
the FOMO was real. It took me a few years to accumulate all of the FOMO until I got over it. And then I'm okay.
Were you always the type of person to walk into a bar and be like confident or club? Kasi
the first...
I remember, wait, di ba skyfam tayo sa Siargao?
Yes.
And then there were a few people in our group na super introverted. Now when they go into a club,
it was awkward.
Like parang, like people staring at me, talking like.
No, I don't think
strangers.
it was that. I think it was just like not their vibe.
Yeah. I got it. Yeah. Parang,
so parang it's harder to blend, I guess, harder to adapt. So I think your question to me is like, if you walk into a room, mabilis ka mag-adapt sa room.
Yeah.
So if it's a club,
are you okay with that? Were you always okay with that? Or
at first when I was growing up, definitely not, because I grew up in a very sheltered Chinese bubble, very protected, very private.
Yeah.
So even lining up, I remember my sister telling me, the older sister of 10 years, lining up for communion in church, nako-conscious na siya. Kasi feeling niya people are looking at her lining up to get her Holy Communion. So parang that was always in my brain, oh, people stare at you pala. Diba? Like, when you hear things from your older siblings, you don't forget it. You remember it. So I was conscious growing up, definitely, especially in my high school years. But I'm always thinking of what other people thought of me, which I think is human nature, right?
Yes.
Like, we're social creatures. You want to belong. It's just, it's fine. It's natural. But I also trained that muscle when I started to go out more. So clubs were always like a no-go for me, as, having very strict parents. But being in the industry, having to go to all of these events, meeting all of these different people, and seeing how other people act in these situations, na parang isipin mo one day, gayahin ko kaya yun? Diba? Like, I can do that. Like, I can say, no one's looking at me. What am I thinking? Parang you just talk to yourself. It's a self-talk thing. And then one day, you're just like,
comfortable
ka na.
Dati, ganyan din ako.
Self-talk.
When I go to a club, like parang sobrang conscious, like I just want to shrink. Parang hindi ko siya vibe, but I don't know why I kept going out.
Yeah.
Pero
after a few shots, okay na.
Mga kabarkada ko, lumalabas kasi. So, sabay.
Yeah.
And like, parang it always took me a few drinks to get comfortable.
Yeah.
And then, hanggang sa, wait, nobody's really thinking of me. Or nobody's really watching me. They probably glance at me and then done.
Yeah, they're just like, oh, who came in? Do I know that person? No? Okay, continue.
Yun. Yung parang, so, I think as I grew older, mas nade-develop yun. Na parang, when we see ourselves, we know each and every flaw. We know our insecurities. So, when someone is looking at us, especially from a introverted point of view, like, it's as if like, feeling natin, alam nila din yung mga ganyan natin. So, pero, as I train my brain na parang, it's not that. They're just looking at you. Just the mere fact of just looking at you. Nothing else.
But I see that in you now, love. Like, sometimes when you enter a room and a lot of people are looking, you're so unfazed. So, na-train mo na talaga yung muscle na yun.
Yung parang, well, na-accept ko na rin na ang dami na nakakakilala sa akin.
Yeah, or like
parang,
before, when you first started dating, at that time, I was like a blogger and you just came from PBB. And like, I remember we went to this peria and like a lot of people just started grabbing you and staring at you and you just be like, oh, hey, bro, hi. Like, even if you didn't know them.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, what the hell? Why are people staring at me? Yeah, because I'm not used to it.
I think sa showbiz yun na kind of like
training.
It's not, they don't train it in particular, but you see all these other people na mostly extroverted, very, very extroverted na mga artistas. And then you see how
Paano sila gumalaw?
Paano sila gumalaw and the language they use. And parang you kind of pick up on it. It's like watching, let's say for example, Michael Jordan, naglalaro ng basketball. Then you have an idea na, ganyan pala. Kung ano yung magaling na gumalaw sa basketball.
I can relate because
social situations. Ganyan.
I remember being fresh out of college, I got this job at this Cebu-based publication. And I was so awkward. I had no idea what this industry was all about. Like, eager to do everything, early 20s. And then I remember that I think it was a small team of 3 or 4. The editor-in-chief at that time, normal girl, like talking to me, okay, this is what we're gonna do, this is blah, 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 blah. And then somebody really important VIP calls her and she answers the phone and her voice completely changes. Oh, hello, yeah. Like, as in PR voice. So I was just like, the frick? She just talked to me 1 minute ago. She's a completely different person. Then she's on the phone now, being a super extrovert. And then she put the phone down and it's back to business. Normal. And then I've seen her do it like so many times within the span of the day. And I'm like, kaya pala yun. Oo nga, no? Kasi the person on the phone doesn't know who you are. Or like, you can pretend to be whoever you want to be to this new person who doesn't know you, and it's fine.
Yeah.
That experience changed me and made me less conscious. Because in my head, like, I've always been shy growing up. When I meet this new person, I'm supposed to be shy. You know what I mean? And then...
Paano boses?
Ganito, like an anime character. Just kidding. But then, you realize that you can change. You're human. You're multifaceted. You can adapt.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
So like, the shy kids in grade school don't have to be the shy kids now that we're adults. You can change.
Yeah. This is something that I hold myself to. Like parang, some people say na parang, ito talaga ako eh. Hindi na ako mag-change. So sa akin, para sa akin, like, I'm always going to evolve.
Yes.
Like, I don't put myself in that box.
Don't limit yourself.
Like parang, ito talaga ako. Yung, like, if I feel like, okay, introverted ako naturally, but it's to a disadvantage to some interactions, some social degree.
Or to my personal life.
Or yeah. So, hanapan ko ng paraan. Hanapan ko ng, like watching how other people do it. So, yeah.
Yeah. I hope this is a nice takeaway for you guys this coming 2024. I
Yun
think
ba
that's,
yung
you know
ano
what?
mo?
I think that's
to
a
go
nice...
out more?
Do you know
and
what, to
party
go out
more as a pregnant woman?
No. I think that's a nice learning for 2024. To not limit ourselves. Right? To find ways in our lives or parts of our lives that we can improve on and not limit ourselves by thinking, hindi ko na kaya to gawin. Hanggang dito lang ako.
This is what I noticed from myself and my learnings in the 40 years
Wow!
that I've been alive.
Oh yeah! Happy birthday, Rose. 40 na siya.
The person who says no, it cannot be done, and the person who says yes, it can be done, are usually both right. So, if you put yourself in a certain box, parang yun na lang din yung limit mo. Kasi iniisip mo, hanggang dito lang ako.
Yeah.
But pag sinabi mong, kaya ko to or kaya ko tong hanapan ng paraan,
You're expanding your box.
You're gonna try and find a way.
Yeah.
This happens to us all the time, especially since, like for example, sa negosyo namin, like light panel. There were so many times na feeling namin, baka hindi to kaya. It's never been done before.
Because you're inventing something new.
Yes. So, we would always go back to the drawing board and say, what if we said that this has already been done? Hindi lang natin alam. Like, most of the ingredients that we need, andun na siya sa ere, and it's just a matter of finding it. So, instead of taking it as a big problem, we'll solve kung saan kami na stuck, and we never say hindi na to kaya or ito na tong limit na to. So just kept on keeping on until, so that's from the material like scientist pero and on a personal level, it is very, very important that we don't hold ourselves to any limit.
It's a nice takeaway. Happy New Year, guys, and we hope you have a great one. Bye.